Livestream starte ich jetzt mal. So, der läuft jetzt auch. Sehr schön. Und dann bei mir startet es immer hier mit den Glocken im Hintergrund, mit den Kirchenglocken, die dann natürlich zur vollen Stunde immer kommen. So, dann lasse ich mal die Gäste rein. Hello, welcome. Welcome, thanks for joining. So, disabling the waiting room that everybody is able to join. So, hello everyone. Welcome to a new edition of On Air, the online format of Swiss AI Weeks and Wildcard Media. And today we will have a fireside chat, which was co-created by Connect AI and Digital Republic. And the topic of today is the end of hold music, AI and the future of customer service. And our guests are Matthias Zwingli, CEO of Connect AI, and Patrick Schenk, Content Manager from Digital Republic. And the session will be streamed on YouTube, as always, and can be watched then later. So, Matthias and Patrick, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much for the opening, and such a pleasure to be here. Yes, today we do a quick deep dive and how AI can change the way we wait, or hopefully don't wait anymore, for customer service and customer help. Maybe a quick anecdote how I ended up in this. So it's around 51% of the customers churn or leave because of bad customer support. And I think this in the future will be more and more relevant. And my personal anecdote with a chatbot was not too long ago in Brazil. I was kite surfing. I lost my car keys. And the only gateway to the customer support of this rental company was a chatbot. Unfortunately, back then, that wasn't time of Gen AI and ChatGPT. So the chatbot's performance was quite horrible. In the end, I didn't find a solution. We had to hire a guy that watched for our car. And that was the moment when I said, yeah, this has to be better. And fortunately, the technology evolved. And today we will talk about how chatbots actually can add value and will add value. And for that, I'm super happy to have Patrick Schenk with me. He's the AI lead of Digital Republic and the person responsible that their chatbot actually provides valuable insights and is used by customers. So yeah, let's quickly jump in. Patrick, maybe you can say a couple of words.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm very thrilled to be here. Yes, we were a bit skeptical at first as well. As you know, chatbots don't have a good reputation, or they didn't used to have a good reputation. But I'm really, really excited to talk about how that changed, one with Digital Republic, but also with chatbots in general. Yeah.
Amazing. And 2 words to me, we're Connect AI. We build chatbots that don't suck, or at least that's what we hope we do. And yes, maybe 2-3 things for the session. We keep it very interactive. So ask all your questions. I try to get and implement them whenever possible. Otherwise, we will jump through the program. I will ask Patrick a lot of questions, and he will hopefully answer in the way he understands as fit. Now, will be very, very open discussion. We will talk very practical of our insights. And yeah, please use the format and shoot us all your questions you have. All right, let's jump in. So to start, before I ask you a question, Patrick, maybe I outline a bit the problem. Why was customer service such a pain, and is such a pain still sometimes? I think the big pain point we figured out was it was costly. For most of the telcos and companies out there, customer service is a cost factor. And to talk with all the customer inquiries takes a lot of effort and time and money. And so what happened the last years was really this building walls, I would say. So it was very hard to reach to reach the company sometimes if you had a problem. Similar to me when I tried to figure out how we get an additional key or a solution for our problem in Brazil. It was very hard and almost impossible to reach the car rental company. And what we see happened a lot was mostly then since it was a cost factor, they even outsourced the contact center. Contact center is who takes your phone or answers your emails in first responses. And the problem with that is the incentive structure is quite strict forward. So as a contact center that works for a telco or whatever, you're paid by the minute or by the hour the customer waits or spends in your line or on your phone. And this is a bit the issue. So I think no one really wanted to take the customer's time serious or value the customer's time. And yeah, it's always, I think Charlie Munger said it, show me the incentives and I'll show you the outcome. And the incentives for the contact center was to spend as much time as possible with the clients. And the outcome is, of course, a very frustrating experience on the customer side. So the time never gets valued. And yeah, that was always a bit the issue. So a lot from my side, but I thought I'd give you a bit the introduction. Patrick, to you. Digital Republic, a super interesting case. You got rated best telco customer service multiple times, I would say. You can classify, I don't know the exact title of it, but why? Why did you start with that? Why did you value customer service?
Well, one of the founding ideas of Digital Republic is basically to enable customers to manage their subscriptions in a flexible manner and by themselves. So we really had the goal to give a lot of freedom to the customers, which on the other hand also meant they had quite a lot of power and possibilities. And with a lot of functions, of course, come a lot of questions, and we didn't want to do the thing maybe other competitors do, as is to just enable customers, but then save in effort in the actual support and availability. We just didn't want to give all these tools to our customers and then let them stand in the rain. That's the one thing. And the other thing, of course, as a young company was to build on the trust we get from our first customer base. And it would be absolutely devastating to lose that trust. So it was very important to us to be approachable and to be reached directly in our office and not in some external contact center, as you mentioned in the beginning. And this really was our bread and butter in the beginning and still is.
And maybe to specify there a bit, so most people don't know, but how it's usually done is you call bigger telco or a bigger company, and your call gets answered somewhere in Lisbon or in the Balkan states. You still answer it in Switzerland, and you always did. Why?
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. We wanted to give an opportunity for our customers to reach the whole team and to have a competent team on the other end who is able to actually solve their problems. So there is very much a philosophy of first level support is last level support with us. We want the customer to be able to get a solution as soon as he reaches out and not do a lot of handovers there. So that's basically the reason we have a rather comparatively small team of customer supporters, but they're very competent and they have a direct way of communication to the rest of the company. So the CEO, so to speak, is only a stone's throw away, which of course greatly enhances the speed of the internal communication and also the experience then for the customer on the other end.
I think you get multiple rewards for it, and I think it's quite fascinating because now slowly the times change, and with especially in the mobile sector, in the telco sector, the product is getting more and more similar. I would say prices are getting similar, the reach is getting similar. So I think you were a pioneer in realizing customer service is probably one of the new USPs or one of these magic differentiations you can get. What is the feedback from your customer side? Do they like it? Do they hate it? Because it's quite a crazy way, right? Normally you would say, gosh, like employees in Switzerland are super costly. I can get 5 of them in another country, but it kind of worked. So what was the feedback of the client?
Well, our customers, they really, I mean, they mention our customer support all the time, basically. Most of our positive reviews we get on Google reviews or Trustpilot are a direct consequence of a good customer support experience. So that shows us that it's very much appreciated. Of course, the question how many customers we have because of our support, that's another question. There is still the price point, and we of course do want to also offer a very competitive price with our offer. But we definitely see customer service as the tool to maintain our customers, because that's the thing with basically no minimum contract term. You constantly run the risk that your customers change providers, which is easier and easier with the online possibilities we have today. So we really have to have a finger on the pulse with our customer base, and support is one channel to do that and to maintain this relationship with them.
Right. So let's jump in now to the topic we all waited for, AI and chatbots. So you mentioned in the beginning you were hesitant. Why were you hesitant to start with it?
I mean, basically because we put so much value on our human-based customer service. We feared, because we still had the memories of these old school chatbots that we all know and hate, where you basically just click yourself through a predefined interface of questions and answers. So we were very hesitant. We also didn't really know how much we could trust a chatbot to give out the correct information to the customer, how much it would improve the work of our customer service and the experience for the customer. So we really took our time before we then made the plunge, but we're very glad we did in the end, because it turned out to be an absolute success story for both sides, the customers and ours as a provider.
Amazing. And you saw in the background, I played an example of how the chatbot works and feels. If you want to try it out, go to digitalrepublic.ch. It's on, you just need to scroll down and then it activates. So test it if you feel like it. And we, in the meantime, talk a bit. So we said we had this hesitant in the beginning. What was the surprise, or what surprised you most after you went live with it, or after you decided to go the step?
The thing that surprised us the most was the amount of use that we could see already, and the amount of interactions with customers, the amount of conversations happening. Because we started out not on our website, but on our support site, which is different kind of FAQ, self-help knowledge hub for our customers with different contact channels available. So we just implemented it there, and honestly thought, yeah, this will probably not be used as much. But then it turned out that we, from the get-go, had quite a lot of conversations happening. And what we then realized is that it's a very valuable way also to see in real time what problems customers have. So it really was a bit of a game-changing moment at that stage.
So for you as well to understand the customer, and for the customer as well. I still remember, so when we started, we were very, and I think I've seen that with a lot of clients in the meantime, they're always very scared. Is anyone ever going to use it, or will it be used? And I think that was my experience as well. I mean, your case is amazing in the growth set, how it evolves. But I think my experience as well, like if it provides value, it will be used. What's the feedback you got from customers? I know a bit from Red's perspective that there were some fears that maybe they don't like it or they hate it, like a bit like what we get back from bad chatbots, or from like this decision-tree chatbots. What was the feedback you got?
Yes, there was a lot of very positive feedback. Of course, like with every AI solution, there is the occasional negative feedback. but we were surprised by how the conversations went basically with the chatbot. So people would thank it for the help. They would even mention it in customer reviews occasionally. So it was really nice to see that it was very much appreciated. We then had the issue that we had a new fear unlocked in a way, because we thought, oh, maybe they don't even realize that it's AI, and think they're actually chatting with one of our supporters. So we had to then, that's why we then added some pretext to it and said, yeah, let's be transparent. This is AI. Please don't share any personal information and so and so. But the feedback overall was very positive, and it shows in the usage that just keeps going up and up since months.
I mean, it's amazing. And I think that was quite forward thinking as well, right? And since the EU AI Act, you have to be very transparent where is AI and where is no AI behind it. So a chatbot as well, you always need to label it as a chatbot. I think now it's kind of clear, since I can't type as fast and most humans can't type as fast. But still, yeah, I think we're getting into the scene where AI is very similar in response to a human. And yeah, good point. Maybe one thing I wanted to ask is a bit, so you started very human first orientated. Now you have AI and employees. How is the interaction? How is the interaction between customer support employees and the AI and the chatbot?
It's also quite interesting because it was a learning process. When we first had it implemented, there were even cases where our supporters would sometimes use it just to see how it interprets customers' requests that came in via tickets. We still very much follow the philosophy of the first level is last level. So the goal still is to offer a solution to the customer as soon as he reaches out, which also counts if he reaches out to the chatbot, of course. What the AI chat does for us now is some form of, it's like a first line of contact that happens with a few customers that don't feel like calling straight away, that don't feel like writing a ticket, that just might have a question. And if from that question there evolves a problem that needs human interaction, then they have the opportunity to summarize it and either copy it into a ticket, or they will be offered a link directly to call via phone. And I think that's a good mix, because on one hand, it still offers the speed and the availability of AI, but at the same time also a very easy channel upgrade, so to speak, to a human support agent that can then help. So it's more of a bit of a symbiotic relationship between the two as of now.
Amazing. And so I put a couple of numbers out. So I think I don't remember how much messages we had when we started. I didn't look it up, unfortunately, but now we're around 9,000 messages last month. So we grew quite fast, especially since we have 2 bots live now. Maybe 2 or 3 inputs from your side. So we have quite a lot of traffic. They like it. It's fast. Yeah. What's next?
Well, that's what's next is always a very difficult question. I think one challenge that we still have has exactly to do with numbers like that. I mean, of course, there are numbers that are very obvious, like we're available, we do a certain amount of conversations, we have a certain amount of speed, there are languages available, but things like quantifying a resolution rate, just that tickled me seeing it there, is a challenge, because you never really know.
I pushed you a bit with it.
Yes,
I pushed you a bit.
You never really know if the customer request is really resolved, if the customer has made a second request at the same time, if it's partially resolved. It's very difficult to track that in a way, because obviously data protection is important, and we can't link chat conversations directly to any customer, and we don't want to. And this means we have to go with the quality or with the impression of quality we get from analyzing the conversations themselves. What we can quantify, I guess we will talk about that as well a bit later then, but we also sell products on our homepage via the AI assistant, and that works well. And also a lot of those smaller questions that are answered directly by the chatbot, they might become tickets or they might not. Also something you don't really know, but they are questions that were asked and questions that were answered. So in the end, it's still added value for us and the customer.
So I will keep out a bit. So what does AI resolution rate mean exactly? It's a bit a thing we came up with because we had this conversation with you and with other clients, and they always say, what's the impact? And what we see the issue is we have a lot more conversations than in the end tickets. And it's kind of, I think, obvious if you think about it, because it takes, or Swiss people especially, until they write you an email or they call you, it takes quite a lot of effort. So, but a chatbot is quite easy. You just throw in some answers or questions, but then until you write an email or you call them, it takes some more effort or whatever. So I think that takes a bit longer. So what we see is we just have a higher volume of questions and of issues they come up with, but not everything, especially as you mentioned, ends up in a ticket or solves a ticket. And so for us, it was very hard, and it is still very hard to get a quantifying number behind this. How much tickets do we solve? How much don't we solve? And maybe I want to pick your brain here a bit, because in the end, we thought it's basically another channel. And it's basically, you just want to give the best user experience possible. So do we need to know, or like, what's your opinion on that? Do we actually need to know how much is solved, or is it just a channel we should provide either way?
Well, I mean, that depends a bit on how you see this agent. I mean, or this assistant, if you really see it as an equivalent to a support channel, then one should compare these numbers. However, we think it's a bit different. We see the AI assistant on the support site as well as on our website as a tool of navigation as well. So because we have around 200 or so articles on our support page, we have a lot of products on our website, and people would usually have to navigate themselves. But if you give them the opportunity to just ask for what they're looking for, that of course speeds up the whole self-help process, and is again enabling the customer to help themselves. And I think that's also a great value that comes with it. So we don't really like to compare the performance of the support or the website bot to the general ticket performance, because as you said, some people will just churn, they will just leave before they'd write an email or do a call. But maybe quite a chunk of them would actually quickly type their question into the bot, and that's then just one more opportunity to turn things around.
Amazing. And maybe one thing I see before the clients, this fast latency that it writes immediately, basically. We saw it with another customer of ours, and it's this thing when you have humans that do the chat work. And what we experienced is, even if they're quite fast, so on average, I think they had like 90 seconds until they were in a chat, what we saw, a third of all chats abandoned in the meantime. So I think it's something we see as well. Humans are very immediate to an answer, especially in chat. And with a human chatter, it's just not possible. I can't write that fast, and I think no one actually can. So it's almost impossible to build this high volume channel with a human in the back end. So I think for you as well, right? In the beginning, we thought we check it or we go through everything. Now AI is quite independent in the big volume. We of course check it on a regular basis, but I think you don't go through all the messages now.
No, it's more spot checking. We had a quite close monitoring in the beginning just to get it on track, also in the communication style and to prevent false information. But now it just works. We only have to change things when we change something on our offer or on our website.
Perfect. And I think the last thing you mentioned, and it coincides a bit with our title, no more hold time. I think it's your idea of resolution first mindset and AI first and human second. And how we see it a bit is, if AI can answer, then it will answer, and you don't have to wait in hold. And if not, you already know the right person, or you get a call back from the right person. So basically, if you make customer service right, there is no more wasted hold time. Is that right?
Exactly. And I mean, sometimes there is a time constraint, for instance, when you have opening hours, of course. But still, I think the reducing of the steps the customer has to take, that's the key thing. So having the opportunity to just create a ticket and ask for a callback, for example, that's something that also then helps if the support isn't available, for instance, during nighttime. So customer will be called back next day at a specified time.
Amazing. So it's not an either or. I think it's just an additional channel, an additional service to the client. I didn't see any questions yet, so please shoot us some. Otherwise, we will continue. You already mentioned it. It's on German. I will translate. So you already said AI is starting to sell your SIM cards.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a bit?
So since we also see AI as a means of navigation on a website, that of course opened up a whole new set of opportunities to play around with our content. I mean, I'm content manager. I always like to see people engage with that. So we used the kind of flow algorithm that we implemented in the support bot to triage cases of a SIM card not working, and just adapted it. So the support bot will, the chat bot will consult people in finding the right mobile subscription, and then link to the specific product. And yeah, that works better and better every day. And he's selling mobile subscriptions like a salesman.
It's crazy. I always got these ads on some spam things that AI will do the work, but right side of will actually work. So we got in some questions, and then I will jump back into it. All right. Can you share a bit about the architecture of the chatbot, which LLM? I can quickly jump into this. We evolved quite a lot on it. I think in the beginning we started with a 3.5. Now we're on a 4.0. We tested a bit with GPT-5, Mini, Nano, etc. But I think it's a mixed model, so it's a LLM and a LRM. So it's not fast enough for what we need. And so yeah, we're still on a 4.0. Works very good. I think we're thinking a bit of changing it as well, maybe more to a Swiss hosted architecture. But that's probably in Q1 next year-ish. But you mentioned it, Patrick. Why do we have this setup? We try to keep it very non-sensitive in these high volume cases, and that's why we work with this setup. Good. Then another question. You've seen many chatbot solutions claiming that they can build it in just one day. What's your opinion on that? We had a bit longer. Why? Why does it take longer to produce quality?
Well, because it still needs to be cross-checked. I mean, this goes into the other questions that were asked. One is how we deal with false information spread by the chatbot, or the second, if we have it integrated with any of our backend systems. The thing is, we always have to be very sure about the information and the communication we put out. And since people are seeking for help with the chatbot, we really have to prevent false information. So what that meant for us was, especially in the beginning, a very close monitoring almost daily, where we will go through the conversations and find out where the information is incorrect, and then add the respective knowledge to the knowledge base of the bot, and basically try to educate it to respond in a correct manner. And then over time, by constantly doing that, we could reduce the amount of monitoring needed. And now we're at a stage where it still occasionally has minor hallucinations. Of course, any LLM will have that, but nothing that would disrupt too much the customer's experience or the solution that in the end will then be given. You also, of course, have to mention that it is an AI model that is used, and that the information can be incorrect. So it's a balance of securing and of training in a way, and adding knowledge to the bot. And then about the integration in our backend systems, that as well is for security reasons. Basically, we do not integrate anything at the moment. It's a sandboxed system, because of course people will attempt to share their private data. And of course we had people also try prompt injections and things like that. So I think the best way to handle that is to just keep it in a separate space and find workarounds. For instance, the ticketing system could have been integrated, but now we just offer the possibility to summarize the inquiry and then copy paste it into a linked ticketing form, which also speeds up the process for the customer, but we don't have to give direct access to the ticketing system, which could be used to overload our support team.
You summarized it very smartly. And I think it's exactly what we've seen as well. We really built around it and we built with what we had, right? So I think LLMs are generative by design. So it's very tricky to put them into, let's say, very critical infrastructure. And I think telcos especially are built on very critical infrastructure. So you don't want to give them access to your records or to your backend at some point, right? Perfect. Good. That's the most questions, right? But yeah, I'm totally with you. I think you explained it all. That's why we do it. And what we see so far is it's amazing in these high volume tasks, and then it forwards to a support agent where it needs the access or when it needs the change. So yeah, this building everything integrated and connected sounds always great on paper, but it adds so much complexity of what you can do, which models you can use, and on your setup and your cost and time to go live, especially, I would say. As of now,
there is always the future, and the speed at which things are progressing is absolutely amazing. So we never know what happens next year.
Exactly. And I think it's a bit how we work as well. We are very opportunistic on where the technology is heading. Voice, for example, is getting quite good now. Maybe a question there. I'm quite curious personally. So most telcos and most big companies, the main channel is voice. I think it's a 4-to-1 or a 3-to-1 mostly. Why is that? And do you think that's in the future the same?
Are we talking about the channel towards customer service?
Yeah.
I mean, the main reason, of course, is that it's immediate help and real time experience. You have actually someone on the other end who is able to listen to you and understand your problem. And since telecommunications problems are usually quite urgent problems for most people, because we all depend on connectivity in our lives. So if your internet doesn't work or your cell phone doesn't work, that's a big thing. And you want to have it solved right away. So that's probably why most people then opt for calling, because they never know. They're used to waiting times maybe on emails. Maybe they're even used to bad chatbots. So for a lot of those people, the call is the first try.
And how is your opinion on AI in voice for now?
For now, I would say I'm not really sure about it, because the intention of someone calling still is to actually talk to a human. And we also see in the conversations we get on our AI assistants that a big chunk of people will just use it to ask for a connection to a human. So there is this need, of course, to actually talk to a person, and not really sure we're there yet with people searching for that. I mean, that might change as well, but as of now, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be used as much or appreciated as much as the chat-based version.
I always like your customer first thinking. So you always think in a value. Does it add value to the customer and the client? And I think that's exactly where we stand a bit as well with it. I think the technology is moving. We're doing some tests now, but we always want to build it very customer value based. And I think for us then is, where does it make sense? And make sense where you can add value. So the first point of contact, or the first point we start now, is to add it to out of office hours. So you're better than just a reply on a phone, and there you can add value. But I'm totally with you, Patrick. I think if you just put it over a phone number, then you have a chat AI, it can't solve your issue. Then you call and you have a voice AI, and it obviously can't solve your issue as well, because it's the same knowledge source, right? If you can't solve it with chat, then you can't solve it with voice either.
Exactly. And that then creates frustration, of course. So we don't want that.
Perfect. Good. I have one more question to the sales part. So we started in January. You said it was if you saw the demand. Anything, where do you think the future is going here? So we have chatbot that sales stuff, we have AI search that sales stuff. What's your experience? What works? What doesn't work? Where do we go in the future?
What we can definitely see, of course, is an increase in traffic directly from language models. So link from ChatGPT, for instance, those have been going up. We also see sales happening with the origin being a language model. So I'm quite sure that AI search and conversational search will grow. And the way we interact with websites will also evolve in that way. I can't really say at the moment if it will be confined to the models, so that you would then directly sell your product within ChatGPT, for example, or if there would be maybe some form of handover. But I think people will get more and more used to just ask for the information or the product they are looking for, and then get used to just getting it and navigating oneself through menu structures that might be a bit old-fashioned at some stage. And then, of course, the goal is to just reduce the steps the customer has to take, and in however manner that then happens.
I think it made total sense, right? In some way, back in the day, we wanted a product and it provided us with 10 blue links, and then we need to click and browse through it. And now I think it gets more to a personalized sales experience. So you say, I want this and this SIM card for roaming and so on, and he provides you with the two best solutions. So it's getting a lot more personalized. So I'm very curious where we go from here. We had another question. Do you consider SLM? We're a bit in the debating area right now. So it's not fully, how do you say, fully decided, but we see a bit that the newest models, the intelligence is almost too much. What makes sense for a customer support and service case. So here we can definitely think of smaller models and of our own hosted models. I think that's a bit the next step where we go there. And then I have another interesting question. What's about data insights? What did you learn from your clients? Maybe I shoot this question to you, Patrick.
Yes, this is one of the big things we realized about the chatbot. It's a way of having a direct log of actual customers' questions. And yes, we use this first-hand data, and we were able to for example, analyze the reasons why people won't choose to use our mobile subscriptions, or what countries that are mostly asked about the roaming data. So with that information, we were then able to optimize the website and the communication and content on the website. So it really is a sense check in a way that you can do with the conversations, and you really feel the vibes within your customer base and the questions they're looking for. It's very, very valuable, and we have found opportunities and also recurring problems, and we are constantly working on fixing them.
It's amazing. I still remember my e-commerce times where you had, I don't know, Hotwire or something. I forgot what it's actually called, but you see where people click and what they do, and then you try to decipher why they don't follow, why they don't understand it. And I think here it's so much more genuine. You basically just read his question and you understand if he got it or he didn't get it. So yeah, I think it's a topic that I am super interested in as well. I mean, it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Google built their whole search and profiling imperium on your questions. And here you have your customers basically telling you what they need, want, or what they don't understand.
Exactly.
Good. I have a last one here, and then I think let's do a bit of a future. So thanks a lot for the question. Super interesting. That's a question for you, Patrick. So maybe on the costs, the development, what makes sense, cost effectiveness. So you're on 1.5 years. Did it make sense, the whole project? Or would you say it's just one of these AI journeys where you just spend a lot of money and in the end, you don't know what you get from?
I think we were very lucky because we didn't have to do as much calculations in the beginning, since it was more of a pilot project, and we were able to early on join this journey. In retrospect, I would say we would have probably still opted to do it, because the price of a solution like that, also with ongoing maintenance, isn't very high compared to the valuable data you get, and also the possibilities to actually offer a quasi online sales clerk on your website. It really has many uses. So it's hard to compare it, because compared to the costs of a customer support agent, how would you even do that? You can't really. And as a new feature, I'd say the value is with the value the company gets and the customer gets, and that value is, I would say, matches or even outperforms the cost of the thing.
I will quote you on this then. I will take that for future sales.
Well, we'll have to see how it develops still, but yeah, we're happy so far.
No, I think you do quite good, and I'm always astonished. So I look a bit at traffic, right? You grew quite quickly as a company and on a customer base, and I think you still have the same amount of so 1.5 years passed, and you still can do it with the same amount of support on a human side. So I think it's hard to measure, but it definitely has an impact. I think you
absolutely, the efficiency gain was there. Yeah.
Perfect. So now, last 4 minutes, we're very Swiss, so we'll be very on time here. But a couple of things I want to pick your brain on a bit is a bit the future. So we talked about it. So some people mention in the future there will be no more websites. There will only be a chat window and an interaction. What's your opinion on this? Where do you see this going?
I mean, as long as we still use screens, I guess there still will be websites. It's really hard to tell. As I said, we will get used to the idea of just asking for things, and then either a website can provide this or not, or another model, a personal model, can provide this or not. What will remain, and I'm pretty sure about that, is the content that's needed, because some source has to be there for even anything to exist, and then the design of this content will be the big differentiator. But that's then far off in the future. I mean, I could imagine it's then all just structured data hosting. You don't know, but the most likely scenario for me would be that websites just behave a bit more conversational and more direct and easy, and less like the folders that they are now.
That's a good one. And if you look forward, what excites you the most? Where are we heading? So we had a couple of topics already, but you personally, what excites you?
The most exciting thing to me is to just the simplicity of the whole customer experience and the opportunities to have a real-time and direct connection to what's actually happening on the website. So we can not only look at the analytics and heat maps or anything you mentioned, but we actually can get insights from the customers themselves and their questions, and sometimes it's even direct feedback. And I think I'm really looking forward to developing this further and to make it even more proactive as well. So actually have the assistant ask questions back and make it behave much more like an actual sales rep. That's the main thing.
Perfect. Good. I think we're wrapping up. Do you have one question for me? Otherwise, I shoot you the last one, but I turn it around.
I mean, I'm just, to be honest, I'm just curious what the next thing's going to be. I would hope to see analytics grow and the whole product grow. I'm a big fan, and I'm looking forward to the whole future.
Amazing. All right. I think that's it. Sabina, you're back. Do we need anything before we close, or
no, great. Thank you. No, thank you very much. I'm always here and I'm listening every session, but I of course use the time also to work for Swiss AI Week. So thanks a lot to you both. And we will have a next on-air session on Friday, and we will dive into multi-agent systems. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm wishing everybody a great day and see you soon. Ciao. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful one.
Ciao.